Okay, welcome everyone to my video series on understanding green reading. My name is Craig Hocknull. I am the Director of Instruction at Glenwild Golf Club and Spa in Park City, Utah. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is some skills that I used as a tour player, understanding how to navigate using Google Earth, and then also understanding how to use the Strack-Align green reading books that you see on tour all over the place. Glenwild Golf Club and Spa has had their greens surveyed, and as their director of instruction, I'm going to be introducing our membership to the book and how to effectively use it. So thank you for joining me in this video. As we return back here to Google Earth, we're going to zoom in on Glenwild Golf Club and Spa so you can see where it is located. I've got it in my navigation bar, and as I click on the magnifying glass, it takes us all the way to Park City, Utah. So as you can see, beautiful Glenwild Golf Club, you can see the green complexes, there's the clubhouse and swimming pool, and as we dive into analyzing the greens on this particular golf course, you're going to be able to use this knowledge to help you at many golf courses around the world. In particular, this bird's eye view concept. So there's a lot of myths out there when it comes to green reading, and I'm just going to kind of talk to you about one of them right here. If we zoom out, let's say we go all the way up, we're at 20 miles up in the air, go a little bit further, and we look down at the topography of this Salt Lake, Park City, Provo region, right? We're in the northern part of Utah. As you can see, the Great Salt Lake in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. As you could imagine, like a puddle, that would be a low spot, right? We would assume that if water stays there, it is in a lower area. As we come down towards Salt Lake, and you can see Glenwild over here on the right, if I zoom in just a little bit closer, what you're going to see is this location on the map here called Summit Park. And the reason why that's called Summit Park is because that is at the summit of this mountain range that basically divides the Salt Lake Valley over here to Park City. Now, Park City is a ski resort, so if I zoom in on Park City itself, you'll see it is located right on the north to northeast ridge right here. Brighton's another ski resort, and Alta's another ski resort down here. So you can see how these are located right here on the mountainside. So as you could imagine, you look down, you can see all these ski runs that are in here in the mountains. Obviously, if you're going to be putting a ball, there's two places that the ball would roll downhill. One would be maybe down here towards Salt Lake, the Great Salt Lake. Another one might be down here toward Provo. There's also a small lake over here out toward Wanship, right? So if you were looking at water sources, you would imagine that those would be low spots. If you can see the peaks of the mountains, those would be your high spots. Now, a lot of times golfers will reference these mountains and say, okay, when I'm putting a ball, everything breaks away from this particular mountain, or everything breaks toward that water source. Now, if I was using a golf ball in this scenario that was like a 2-mile diameter golf ball, maybe it would roll and follow these ridges. But since our golf ball is not even 2 inches in diameter, it's 1.68 inches in diameter, that golf ball is going to be influenced by much, much smaller contours. So, for example, when we are looking over here to the left side of Glenwild, there's another hill over here that a lot of the members and caddies will reference and say, okay, everything breaks away from that. Well, again, if the golf ball was maybe the size of a house, or maybe the size of 3 houses put together, it would be influenced by the greater terrain. But when we look down here all the way down to, let's say, the first putting green, now you can imagine as I get all the way down here, there's going to be so many small little micro influences on that golf ball. So this video series is on how to actually read these small terrain changes using the Strackline book. So here's a zoom in of the first green, and then I'll take you over here to the Strackline book just to finish up this introductory video. And here is the first green with all of its tiny little arrows and details, and then the color-coded example here as well will show you the high spots and low spots, and I'm going to explain in this series exactly how to read that. But just to point out, to dispel the one myth, for example, right here you can see this particular arrow at the very bottom of the screen is pointing down to the left, right? Right here on the very bottom you can see that. This arrow is pointing in that direction. Well, we know because of the design of the screen that water is being directed to channel in this direction. Over here, if we look on the right-hand side of the green, you can see that there's another couple of arrows pointed in, let's say, the southwest direction, right? This particular one here is actually pointed more in a northwesterly direction. Over here, again, southwest. So as you can see, these arrows can point in any direction. So if we go back here to the bird's eye view of this putting green, down here, that water or that arrow is pointed in this direction, down toward that low spot. There's a low spot for drainage right over here. In fact, if I zoom out here and come down to the grass, you can kind of see where some of that drainage is designed, right? Now, golf course architects, greens shapers, are designing or shaping these greens in such a way to move water. Now, if you remember from that diagram, I had arrows in this area going, again, let's call it a southwest direction, and then there were arrows up here going southeast. This entire contour on a micro level is maneuvering that golf ball and making that golf ball fall and go wherever essentially water is going. If I zoom all the way back out, if we take this hillside, for example, that's just right over here, and we would assume that everything from the peak of this hill is going down, down, down. You can kind of see that, the line that I'm drawing across the screen, right? So in this direction, a straight line across isn't a straight line. It's actually falling and coming down past these houses, across the street, down, 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 down. But we also know that down here on the putting green, it's not actually following that same flow. Now, there may be an influence from the greater ridge, but down here at a 1.68 golf ball, that golf ball is going to move whichever direction these little micro terrains are going to move that ball on. And that's the benefit of using a Strackline book like this, is that the book itself will show you exactly where all of these topographical lines are to show you exactly where that's moving. Now, we're not going to get that complicated in this series. We're going to keep it very, very simple, very, very high level understanding, and we're going to make it extremely practical on how you can actually use this information to score better. So thank you for joining me in this series. We're going to get stuck into going through every hole on the golf course here at Glenwild Golf Club and Spa. Again, Craig Hocknull, Director of Instruction. Let's get stuck into it.